Let the breath of the living rejoice, for we have been granted the rarest privilege in the cosmos, the arrival of the Messiah. For the heart of God so burned for the world that he severed a piece of his own soul, his one and only Son, that whoever anchors their belief in him shall not fade into the void, but inherit life everlasting. But pause, hush the noise of the season, and perceive how this king made his entrance. The architect who spun the galaxies did not descend into a palace of gold. He did not choose a lineage of silk and steel. Instead, he collapsed his infinity into the poverty of a carpenter's home. He wrapped the blinding glory of heaven in the fragile, shivering clay of human skin, resting his head in a trough designed for beasts. Yet, look closely. The rough wood of the manger was but a long shadow cast by the wood that was to come. The cross. We must not look away. We must gaze into the terrifying beauty of his love. The cross was a scaffold of agony, an engine of torture reserved for the refuse of history, the criminals who owed a debt to justice. Yet, amidst the guilty, there hung the only innocent man to ever walk the earth, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. The risen King, in his sovereign humility, handed himself over to the wolves. Though his crimes were none, his punishment was demonic. They stripped him of his garments and his dignity. The scourge wrote the sins of humanity across his back, shredding him into a tapestry of raw muscle and weeping bone. They spat into the face of God. They took a crown of razor-sharp thorns and drove it into his brow, crowning the King of the Jews in a theater of cruel comedy. He bore the crushing gravity of human hatred, and as he hung there, suspension tearing at the sockets of his shoulders, lungs fighting for a thimble of air, Jesus screamed into the heavens, "Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani." He cried out the ancient words of Psalm 22, signaling to the watchers that the prophecy was complete. He inhaled the wrath meant for us, exhaled the atonement, and clothed us in the pristine righteousness of his work. And then the silence was shattered. On the third day the king awoke. He kicked open the iron gates of the grave, conquering death and handing us the keys to eternity. Therefore I cry out to you, arise, shake off the dust of your slumber, rise up from the ashes of your weakness, run to the altar of God, storm his sanctuary with thanksgiving and violent, joyful praise, to those whose tables are full, surrounded by family and laughter. Look past the shimmering lights. Do not let the blessing blind you to the blesser. Remember the blood that bought this peace. And to you, the one who sits alone, you who are friended by depression and silence, you who feel you have nobody, bring your discomfort to Jesus. He knows the cold. He knows the abandonment. He has promised, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." This is a vow signed in his own blood. He will brush away the secret tears. He will dismantle your sorrow. When you are isolated, draw near to the heart of God, and he will draw near to yours. When you feel you are failing beneath the weight of your trials, run to him. He will pull you from the suffocating darkness into his marvelous light. He will restore the ruins of your spirit, and from the broken ground the fruit of endurance shall spring forth. Look at your life. See the fruit you have borne, and if your hands feel empty, do not despair. Simply abide. Through prayer, through worship, through the hunger of fasting, cling to the vine. Even if your prayer is nothing more than a broken whisper saying, "Jesus, you are worthy," that is enough. That is a truth that shakes the foundations of hell. So arise, nations of the earth, run to Jesus. Repent of the old ways, detach from the rotting desires of the flesh, and anchor yourself in him. Whether you are weak or strong, whether you are burning with fire or nursing a dying ember, rejoice. Do not mourn, for you have received the greatest gift to ever grace the dust of this earth.